So the first myth I'm going to talk about is people saying, I want to wait until the market drops to buy a home. I want to wait until the market drops to buy a home. Everybody thinks there's going to be this big crash like 2008. I want to wait. I don't want to buy a house right now. I'm going to wait. I'm just going to stand by and I'm going to wait until the market crashes. First, let me tell you that we will see a correction in the real estate market. The real estate market is cyclical. It goes up and down. It does. It's always done that. So that's not uncommon. With the pandemic, with the short recession that we were in, absolutely, the market will end up being affected by it. But if you think there's going to be another 2008, there's not. I'm sorry to inform you, there's not going to be another 2008 where you're going to see houses that were once $400,000 now $150,000. We have that a lot. And I'm in Stockton, California, which was ground zero for the foreclosure market. The foreclosure crisis, this was ground zero. So if you Google anything, GTS, Google that shit, you'll see that Stockton, California was ground zero. Most of the foreclosures happened here. And guess what? I was actually blessed to be one of the biggest foreclosure brokers in the area during that time. So I was able to really help a lot of people. But because you'll never see a market like that, because when that happened, it happened. I don't know why they didn't prepare for it, but they just weren't prepared. So when these interest rates started adjusting, they started going up. So even me, I had one of my investment properties that I think the payment was $1,200 and it went up to $2,500 like that. Boom. Like, I'm not paying $2,500 for this piece of crap that I'm only getting, $1,200 for rent or $1,300 for rent. You think I'm paying $2,500? I ended up foreclosing on that property. But the banks were not ready. The banks were not established to be able to handle all the volume of all the foreclosures that came in. They didn't have departments to even deal with this. So they were foreclosing really quickly. And then it took them, 2 or 3 years to foreclose. But they had set up departments, workout departments that actually help people to be able to keep their properties. So the reason why we're not going to see a housing pandemic the way we saw before is because banks, it's better for banks to keep you in the home and work with you than to foreclose, because the housing market affects the entire global economy. And nobody wants that kind of smoke that we had in 2008. They just don't. They don't want that smoke. So they put mechanisms in place so that we won't see that. Yes, we will see some fallout from the pandemic, absolutely. But we're not going to see the type of fallout that we saw in 2008 simply because banks are prepared. They have workout departments that are willing to work your payments out with you to keep you in the home, because it's more beneficial to everybody involved to keep you in the home. Okay, so you're not going to see the market drop. Second thing is, don't buy when the market drops. So even if it does go down, so say that there's a house that was $400,000, now it's $350,000, but the interest rates went up. So right now the interest rates are like 2%, 1.875, 2%, 2.5%. So say the interest rates go from 2%, now they're 4%. So your house just went from $400,000 to $350,000, but your rate went from 2 to 4%. Cumulatively, you're going to pay more for the home, even though it's $50,000 less, because the interest rate is higher. So if you're waiting to buy a home when the market drops, but if the interest rates go up, you're actually paying more for the house. So it makes no sense for you to be waiting. I've had clients that were waiting for years and years and years, and they ended up losing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity because they were waiting on the market to drop. They've been waiting since 2012 for the market to drop, and it never did. And year went by, and that $200,000 house that they were looking at is now a $400,000 house or a $450,000 house, and they've lost out on equity. So don't wait until the real estate market drops or you think it's going to drop. Right. So, and the other thing is, when it was dropping, everybody started selling and getting scared. And Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, he said, don't sell when everybody's selling. Sell when everybody's buying. Buy when everybody is selling. And we tend to do the opposite. We tend to, as a community, as African Americans, we tend to be reactive instead of proactive. And so we have to look at the market very differently. All right.